That's right, today we're making some huge improvements to our Atlantean Adventure water park. Today, I have some big stuff planned. Our first roller coaster, our first flat ride, and some other cool additions like a small kiddie pool, as well as a huge slide that sends you shooting through an aquarium filled with sharks, rays, and fish. Ooh, but first things first, I think I need a drink. How does a pina colada sound? The best part about Planet Coaster 2 for me is absolutely the scaling feature. It lets me create small details like this custom bamboo cup for a pina colada. That's better. We can get started, and welcome back everyone to the Atlantean Adventure Water Park. I'm not gonna lie, this slide scared the shit out of me as a kid. I mean, you're falling down 60 feet into a pool filled with sharks and fish. What's scarier than that? But I did it despite the skid marks I might have left on the slide. And here I am recreating it in Planet Coaster 2. This process was actually pretty easy, and you can do this in your own game super easy too. Just make sure to turn all collisions off in the settings menu. It literally won't affect anything at all, so it's honestly very good that you do this. And once you do that, you can have your super big slide go sliding right through a pool. But to get up to this slide entrance, I wanted to have it be in the top of another temple. Original, I know. I didn't want to spend forever building this from scratch, so I saved some time by actually using a pre-made temple building set. I made this myself, and I wanted each temple to feel very unique, so while the other temple felt kinda simple, this one's going to be loud. I added some blue embellishments and some different metal pieces around it to give a much more royal look. I wanted it to be tall too, so it kind of peeks across the landscape. Oh, I love it. I love these little statues that I created for it too. They're little Quetzalcoatl heads, and I think they really help tie the building really together. So the temple came out great, but what are we gonna do about these fish I keep talking about? Well, as I said, we use a pool for the aquarium. It's a little annoying since the guests keep asking how to get in it, but I just set it to closed and forget about it. That's the thing about me. If you're new here, I tend to use pieces kind of how they're not supposed to be used. So once that's set, I line it up with the same building set pieces that we used earlier for the temple. I can't recommend this process enough. Making the smaller details in a building set, then using that for the bigger build, it just gives it so much more detail and character. You're able to really spend time with the pieces just to help them really stick out. So just start small and plan ahead. Everything will just slide right into place. Slide, get it? Get it? Well, speaking of that slide, let's start to get some of these creatures in here. The manta rays work really well for this aquarium. Unfortunately, I can't scale them down too much, but I love the look that they give. I have them attached to some rotating platforms as part of the new animatronic systems, and set them to static so they just flap around. So with all those pieces in place, it looks like they're just swimming in circles. It's pretty cool. But I wanted to go crazier with this. So I set up an entire roller coaster below. I used the steel mouse ride because it has the most options and a very small footprint. Then I started to create a kind of simple track underneath the aquarium. With collisions off, I made a pattern and attached fish to the top of the coaster, and just like that, they start to swim around. I didn't go too realistic with the fish models in here because once you're actually in the slide, you only get a brief view of the animals, but I absolutely love the look that it gives, especially from above. It's so convincing. Temple came out great, the fish look fantastic in the pool, and it's an epic slide for anyone brave enough to take it on. But what about the younger kids who might be a little bit too scared to ride the big monster? Well, let's get started on a kiddie pool just for them. I wanted this pool to be right beside the temple. I designed it as a shallow walk-in pool that's perfect for families looking for a quieter place to relax and keep an eye on their kids. I went with a rounded pool shape to make it feel nice, cozy, and safe. Around the edges, I added some faux rockwork and some lush foliage to really help it feel secluded and calm. Being so close to some high-energy attractions, the foliage will really help to reduce the noise from the rest of the park. I even added a few temple pieces sunk into the ground to tie this area to the larger temple theme. The mythology rubble pieces especially help to create that ancient mystical look I'm kind of aiming for. After adding some benches and a few more details, this quiet little corner is ready. It's such a nice, calm part of the water park, and I think the bigger pools will be awesome for some large groups, but this spot feels perfect for families, and that's something I really wanted to keep in mind with this park. Water parks, after all, are for everyone, thrill seekers and relaxation fans alike. So it's really important to me to keep a healthy balance between the excitement and the peaceful spots, kind of like this one. The area's looking nice, but it's also missing a bit of decoration. We have these lovely palms and lush jungle plants everywhere, but I think we need something a little bit more organized. So I created a full potted plant set, and it's now available on the workshop for you all to use and customize. I started adding these all over the place. It helps to bring in a wide variety of plant types and adds to some more visual interest. For taller plants, I used the beautiful ficus trees and some banana palms to create some cool curated cover. And for some medium-sized plants, I went the monstera, of course, and the elephant ear plants to add a little bit more body and texture. I also tossed in some smaller flowers to give the area a little bit more of a pop of color and a fresh feel. With all of these plants scattered throughout the park, the space feels so much more vibrant. It's a small touch, but it really helps to tie everything together. Now, all the relaxation is great, but this is Planet Coaster after all. I wanted to add a few amusement park rides to bring in some excitement, so let's start with a simple flat ride. This ride will be one of the first attractions you encounter as you move into the more theme park side of the resort. Yeah, I'm thinking of splitting the park into two different sides. One with more land-based attractions like flat rides and roller coasters, and the other featuring lazy rivers and intense water slides, a lot more of that aquatic feel. But for this ride, I wanted to capture the feeling of being out at sea. It is an Atlantis theme park after all. So I went with the ride that moves like waves to keep that ocean vibe going. It's the parallelogram. I love that Planet Coaster 2 lets you customize flat rides with decorative pieces. It's such a game changer. I've seen so many amazing creations, all built using the same flat rides as a base, and it's incredible to see the variety. After attaching a few wave pieces to the ride cars, I created a custom sign for the attraction too. I've got to say, the new font pieces make it super easy to make awesome custom signage. I decided to go for the name Whitecap. I think it's a very fitting name for something that has to do with the waves. It may just be a small addition in the grand scheme of things, but flat rides are perfect for adding variety to your park. Whether they're thrilling or more laid back, flat rides are always great for drawing guests and creating something for them to do. Okay, when I first saw this coaster, I knew I had to use it. I mean, it's literally a coaster that you surf on. How cool is that? And the craziest part, I didn't even plan on building it for this episode. Uncle Leaf treats you guys good. You're getting a lot more content than you deserve. No, seriously, I was just playing around. I was doing small coaster elements, but as I kept building and building and building, I fell in love with this coaster. It started off with me placing one track, adding a banking element here and there, just fooling around. But element after element, I kept going and going. I experimented with the launch systems, adding more curves, banks, drops, and before I knew it, the entire coaster was done. Now let's be real, I am in no way qualified to design coasters in this game. Most of my projects in the original Planet Coaster were rides I shamelessly ripped off from Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. But this one, it's like the roller coaster gods took over me. I had so much fun putting it together, and it just works. Now keep in mind I did do a lot of building off camera, so you won't see me doing all the foliage and all the hedges and stuff, but adding those really helped to create a little bit more of noise reduction. I mean, after all, it's a roller coaster. People are going to be screaming, you're going to hear metal on metal with the wheels going everywhere. We got to do our best to reduce that as much as possible for all of the sunbathers. One of my favorite things was adding this little gravel bottom to this. Now I did use the aquatic rocks, which do glow in the dark, unfortunately. However, I also added some barnacle pieces, which really helped to sell this really 3D gravelly kind of look. After that, I got started on the queue and station building. It's pretty simple right now, but I am hoping to polish it up a little bit later. Yeah, this episode is pretty stacked as it is, so I think I'm gonna save that for another time. For now, I am super proud of what I was able to accomplish. I did not think I'd be building a roller coaster this soon in the coaster game. If you do have any ideas, though, on how to improve this station, please let me know. I have a switchback queue in here that has guests kind of building up to the point where they're able to board, but any roof I try and put here just looks stupid. Well, ignoring that, and a few cleaning details after, I would say we've accomplished a lot. Yeah, we really did do a lot in this episode, huh? Aside from all the smaller details we filled in along the way, we added a brand new roller coaster, a brand new flat ride, Whitecaps, a huge slide that goes through an entire aquarium, and tons of other touches to help this park come alive. By the time that this video comes out, it'll already be the weekend and Planet Coaster 2 should be released for all of you at home. So I bet some of you are already building your own parks, but thank you so much for stopping by to check out what I've been working on. It's always a treat to jump back into this file and build some more stuff for you all. But I do have some issues. I have 2 rides that need names. For the Leap of Faith slide, I've been using a placeholder name, Plato's Fall, but I'm not really feeling it. If you have any creative ideas, just let me know. Whoever comes up with the winning name will be the official sponsor of this epic slide. Not only that, but this coaster needs a name too. It's surrounded by ancient Atlantean ruins, so feel free to get creative with it. And again, if the name that you choose is picked, you'll be the sponsor of the ride. It's my way of showing appreciation. Once again, thank you all so much for being here. The number of new folks who have joined after the last Atlantean Adventure episode was incredible, and I could not be happier to have you in the leaf pile. If you're new here, absolutely check out the previous episode. We did a ton of fun stuff, and it's a great way to see the building process and even build alongside me. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to drop a like and consider subscribing if you can. It's completely free and it helps me know what you want to see in future videos. If you have any other ideas for this park, I would love to hear them. I have a few ideas cooking, but I'm curious to hear what you would come to expect out of a park like this. Thanks again, everyone, and I will see you all in the next episode of the Atlantean Adventure Waterpark. Bye-bye now.